Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Don't forget, Channels Television will host a governorship debate in Ondo State on Monday, the 21st of November 2016. And some of the top 4 candidates will slug it out in these debates and some of the important issues in the race. So watch out for this. We'll be live right here on Channels Television, 7 o'clock p.m. on Monday. Keep tabs and let your tube be open for this. Well, let's begin by telling you that Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, presided over the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja today. At the meeting, the Federal Executive Council approved a bilateral agreement for the avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion of taxes on income and capital benefits between Nigeria and Singapore. The Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, told State House correspondents the agreement is aimed at encouraging more direct foreign investment into Nigeria, enlightening investors on their tax obligations, and ensure sustainable tax regime for Nigeria and Singapore. The Council also approved bilateral air service agreements with the state of Qatar and Singapore aimed at making Nigeria Africa's aviation's hub. And now to some defection story. A former governor of Abia State, Dr. Orji Uzo-Kalu, who has dumped the Progressive People's Alliance, the PPA, for the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC. The former governor says his decision to defect to the APC was taken after wide consultations with his political associates, followers, loyalists, and well-wishers. Dr. Kalu is a founding member of that party, the PPA, in 2006, and the former chairman of the party's board of trustees. The PPA, which was founded by Kalu in 2006, produced Chief T.A. Orji and Chief Ikedi Hakim as governors of Abia and Imo State, respectively, in the 2007 polls. Dr. Kalu is facing corruption charges from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Away from those stories now, let's move into our major story of the day. It has turned out to be a battle for supremacy between the Senate and the executive of government. The relationship between the two arms of government has not been rosy recently, as the tension created by the political undercurrent that we now see is more and more heightened. The ruling APC has perhaps been more divided over several issues than ever before, and some will say the party has not really handled its success at the 2015 election properly. Let's get some perspectives into this matter, shall we? A senior member of that party and a former spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Mr. Eseme Ibo, joins us now from our Abuja studio. Many thanks for coming on the program. It's interesting, the scenario playing out in your party, especially the fact that we know that seems to be some political undercurrent between the executive and the legislature. We see policies and programs being taken to or presented to the National Assembly, but some of the National Assembly members will say these are shoddy jobs, they're not properly done, and being thrown back to the presidency. What does it portend, for example, for your party on one hand, and again for the government of President Buhari, when you have your policies be torn apart and being thrown here and there each and every time?
Well, I want to thank you very sincerely for trying to use your platform to deepen, the process and the progress of our democracy. You see, the issue of the misunderstanding or communication gap between the legislature and the executive has always been there, largely because of the understanding or deliberate effort, by some members of the two arms of government to try to create a scenario of undermining the theory or the principles of the separation of power as espoused in our Constitution. But mainly, the current one going on now, like the issue of the loan and the National Assembly, I think it's okay for democracy. Before now, there has been this issue of the appropriation, which of course the budget, the proposal was sent to the executive returned it, and there were these constructive engagements, between the two arms of government, which is quite very healthy. There's nothing wrong about that. But putting it differently, I want to say too that APC functioned very well. APC is my political party, but it did very well as opposition party when PDP was in charge. But when now the APC now took over as a result of the 2015 general election, I think I have found the party insufficiently, empowered with the capacity to manage its successes, largely because that the entire structure of the management of the political party, they are deficient of the ingredients of managing these successes. And that has robbed and impacted negatively in all, various arms and levels and structures of governance, which is very, very unfortunate. But that is not to say that all the hopes are lost. That is not to say so. By the result of the 2015 election, when APC won, I think it was a clear handbook which the Nigerian people gave to APC. And PDP on its own part is not also faring well because it has not been able to play a good role of opposition, because if they were playing a good role of opposition, I think they would have helped to cause APC to put its house in order and begin to manage the process of governance and the management of political parties. Because what we are experiencing now is a war of, an intra-war of attrition, within the political party, which is not helping. You see people at the hierarchy of the party, beginning to, twist and use all manners of weights, trading with each other in the public domain and creating poor public perception. And you don't see that in Nigerians.
Just a moment. When we wonder that within a big party such as the APC, there are caucuses within the National Assembly. If there are issues as regarding what the ruling party is bringing to the National Assembly, some of these issues, perhaps before you bring it to the open and open up the dirt and the mess of the party, you will probably look for a way of resolving it within these caucuses. But it doesn't look like we saw these caucuses thrive very well in the PDP, but in the APC, we've not been seeing that happen.
Well, I can tell you that the outcome or the strength of any caucus in the legislature or any arm of government is a function of the efficiency of the political party. Political party, as it were, is expected to be a mobilizing platform. It's expected to be, a warehouse where you garner all your potentials, put together your ideologies, articulate your programs, the implementation strategies, and of course it acts as advisory, to various arms of government as long as it's the government in power. So what APC is lacking is the ability to talent hunt and create some level of strategic structures to be able to manage its successes. It has a wonderful program. It has a wonderful president. It has a wonderful vice president. Fine. The integrity of the president and vice would not translate into the issue of deliverables when it comes to the issue of governance. So we need to have a structure whereby the enablers to be able to drive the policies of government as represented by the symbol of the presidency, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. It should be able to get down to the people. And that is the work of the mobilizing.
Give us a sense of give us a benefit of your experience in the National Assembly. When we see that the executive and the legislature are in loggerheads in this manner, what plays out, for example, on the floor of the hollow chamber there, or what are some of the things that we cannot see? What really is happening? Do these guys talk to themselves? Give us a benefit of your experience that you have also been in that hollow chamber before.
Well, I want to I want to excuse you for the use of one statement there that, face off. I'm not aware, and I have not experienced, I've not seen anything like face off. You know, the principles of democracy is all about the issue of separation of powers. And when you talk about the three arms of government, that is where the separation of powers, actually come into bear. So by the time the legislature is asking executive question, or executive is seeking to know something from the legislature, that is constructive engagement.
All right.
That is trying to create a healthy...
we need to take a pause right now. I'm sorry that I have to pause you for a moment, because we'll take a moment, and when we return, more on these intrigues, we'll be hearing from Senator Ita and to give us a sense of what the presidency will be presenting to the National Assembly in the coming days. That's after now. Join us again.
I do not support the action of borrowing, because this money is within some cabals and the multinational company. That is why I'm supporting Mr. President's effort, the war against corruption. Our money is in few hands, in the cabal's hand.
Looking at some of the indices, we thought that government should have been more meticulous in providing information that would have guided the National Assembly. The problem we are having, totality of Nigerians across party line believe in the integrity and good intention of the president. But truly speaking, as a member of the APC, truly speaking, I cannot vouch for all the people that surround Mr. President. I cannot vouch. We will proceed to ask for details. We will ask that we require definite positions and intended allocations.
If between now and tomorrow, whenever it comes to the floor of the House, we're furnished with this information, we may look a bit more kindly at it. But for as long as the information available is what the information is, then we may ask the same questions that the senators asked. And if that equates to suffering the same fate, then, it would be in the interest of Nigerians, and we would have acted in the most patriotic way.